We are 3 months into 2025, and if I've seen anything in Dragon Ball Legends this year, it's that any unit can really take you out in ranked PvP. The way the devs have been releasing units, they've been more on the balanced end, so we haven't got any major meta shifters where that one unit forces everybody to use them or not be able to play, and that's a really good thing. But also because of that, it allows for older units that might have been underrated to show their value as they're still able to compete, or if anything, they've gained more value as a result of circumstances. One of those being the Battle 2.7 update that a lot of units can take advantage of. So I wanted to drop a top 5 units that are very underrated but can be used in ranked PvP. And I think a big name that we should talk about is Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who not too long ago people didn't even bat an eye to, but his age has been phenomenal. This unit here was the first Ultra of 2024, so he's been in the game for a while, and even with that amount of age, he is very valuable and has only gained more stock, especially with the release of Ultra Perfect Cell. Having 2 blast units on Cell Saga, both being the anti-blast card type havers, they're the only 2 in the game that have that. It just makes them very oppressive where they can shut down blast armor and put their blast arts game at a maximum. This unit being green as well syncs very well with that red, and even just through the festival, this guy had gained a lot of value. I was using him a lot on Son Family, and even Hybrid Saiyans with the release of Ultra Beast Gohan gained a lot of value, or even just before that with the release of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, there was a lot of reasons to bring him out. Even Sword of Hope Trunks got a Zenkai, lots of people were just wanting to use Ultra Gohan, and they reran his banner quite a bit, I think twice in the festival, maybe just once before and once during or just after. So overall, the devs, they definitely had something in mind, and this guy here has definitely gained value, especially since we can't, well we can, but we can't backflow as freely because you're gonna lose Vanish. So the blast arts value is just higher, but then long range it is also nerfed. But if you have the anti-blast, the strike arts people that are using blast armor can't take full advantage of that. So I don't know how this guy has done it, but imagine instead of aging, he's reverse aging, so he's only getting better in time. Of course his damage isn't the highest, he's not on boost as he was in his prime, but he's still able to compete very freely, and I only have him at 5 because people have seen that this guy is solid. I think he's making a top 10 most used units in Dragon Ball Legends PvP, so people have started using him again a lot. But if we literally just go back 2 months ago, people would be saying, Ultra Gohan, he's nice, people are just biased, but honestly, respect on this guy's name, he is nice, and I love using him. Honestly, I only have 2 copies, I think, maybe 1. I think I have 2 though, and he's clutch. Last stand, you do not want to deal with this guy last stand. The biggest rat in the game, all of a sudden he's nuking everybody. True FSK, even though he doesn't do the father-son Kamehameha, but he's feeling like it for real. It's crazy that I have to put a guy like this in this video, but he's in a very weird predicament. So there's 2 sides you can look at it at. There's one side where he's not even underrated, he just can't be used. You shouldn't even have an eye on him. He's literally not valuable because the yellows in the game are too strong. But there's another side where, because he's purple and that counter can keep him alive, he's very much usable now, especially having a red to protect him from the yellows and having value because there's good greens in the game. People have started using G4 again. I've seen a bunch of arguments saying that this guy is now relevant again, he's making a comeback, I'm not gonna put him out there as one of the best units in the game or anything like that. That is not what we're talking about here, nowhere near close. But I think G4 is one of those units where you have to build him with intention, and I've been saying that a lot in the past couple months. It's because people don't know how to build characters, especially depending on how the meta is feeling like, how it's moving. G4, when he first came out in his prime, people used him as an offensive beast. That was his main job, and there was even arguments from day one of saying that he was a glass cannon. He could not tank, he could not take a hit. And honestly, that's true. But the reason that is because he has the counter. If you have a counter like that, I'd be damned if they gave you good defenses too. Anybody with such a defensive mechanic like that, they do not get good defenses. All the Ultra UI units, they don't have good defenses. G4 does not have good defenses, and now even if you're fighting Ultra Majin Vegeta with a red, he gets melted. The defenses are showing to be lackluster, but Majin Vegeta is a lot stronger than the other guys I mentioned, I'm not gonna lie. It's quite by a bit of a margin, but he's still on the weaker end when he's fighting a type advantage unit. But G4, because his counter is so OP, it can counter every arts card. He's getting it off. And that's crazy. Because of that, a lot of people have been using them against the likes of Ultra Cell. We've seen that Ultra Cell, because of the way his ultimate arts work, he has that cover no, he's able to get through Ultra Beast Gohan. But G4 with his counter doesn't have to worry about that. The only type of person that can stop him really is Vegito Blue, and he doesn't have an ultimate arts. Maybe Gogeta Blue the Striker Sword, but nobody using that guy. Honestly, G4 is on the rise if they keep releasing green units and they release red units. Red units will push out the yellows and green units increase his value. That's the way that he will keep getting stock. If it's a blue, it doesn't really matter either way, you know? So for that, I think he's very much worth being on this list. You can use him, build him with intention. And when I said intention earlier, I don't think I elaborated on that. It means you should build him defensively. Build him for his job. You're not using him, even though his ultimate can be great, you're not using him to do the most damage on the team. You want him to be able to counter 3 times. That's the maximum he can get on the battlefield. And if you take advantage of those 3 counters, the other 2 units on your team can do all the work and sweep the other team. G4 can come in here and there with his strike damage. You know, his cover no is pretty good in explosive green. The blue card can do a bit of damage, and of course the ultimate, which is his main thing, but you're not prioritizing that. The top of your list is defenses, so he can tank, he can heal, and then he will also just do his counter, which will give you another chance to reset. And that's what you need to play G4 for. And if you do, you will see that he's very valuable in countering a lot of the guys in the meta. Of course, if you're running up against a yellow, you need to be very careful, specifically Ultra Margin Vegeta. Even Diamond Goku can catch this guy slipping, and he's red. Anybody with a lock-in, to be honest. Instant Transmission Goku is on that list as well. But yeah, G4 4th for underrated. Now in my number 3, we've got Fusing Super Vegito. I've been using this guy recently, and there's only one reason I'm putting him on this list. I haven't seen him being used at all, but my main reason is that he's on the boost. If he's on the boost, it gives him a good increase to be used. Obviously, I have Fusion Warriors at a pretty high standard, so I can use them a lot more freely, but everybody pretty much summoned off Fusing Super Vegito in the 6th anniversary. I think everybody is a holder of this unit, so using him to get a free Rising Rush is so valuable. So I'll explain how I've been using him. My main reason for using him is to counter Beast Gohan. So what I would do is I would rush Beast Gohan pre-transform with Fusing Super Vegito. They get Dragon Balls so fast, and then I will let him counter me. I'll let him take his buff cancellation and then take his counter, and because of that, I will take the damage with this guy. Boom, synchro. You know, I pressed the wrong button, but synchro straight away, and now I've got full health again. And by the time a couple combos go through, it'll be like 2 combos, 3 combos. I get another Rising Rush because this guy gets a Dragon Ball of transforming. He gets a Dragon Ball of his main ability. That's 2 flat, and then the other ones will come through from cards. So it happens pretty easily. So I've been kind of using him as a defensive unit where his main job is to absorb hits, and then he will also heal. I run him with Beast Gohan, so they also can't rush me either or hit me with a crazy ultimate, and that just works super well, especially because he's a Son family unit. But the rush on the second end, if I wasn't fighting Beast Gohan, I could just rush straight away fusing Super Vegito, but I take big advantage of his healing capabilities from tag switching, and then to also getting the full heal off the synchro. You become a whole new unit that is a big help. But the main thing is that his Rising Rush when he's in Vegito state is such a big plus, depending on who you're fighting. So Ultra Margin Vegeta, he's one of those guys that do not cancel buffs on a Rising Rush, so you're able to get through them. But even if you can't get through a lot of people, so for example you're fighting Gohan and Trunks, they have a second life, you'd only get through that first life. A first life is still better than nothing. So I think a lot of people should take advantage of this, on top of the fact that they can do good damage, you know. Tag switching, getting cover null very easily, and the tag switching is so quick with this unit. Green card tag switch, green card tag switch, then it's the cover null that you get, so you're able to do a bunch of cards and tag switch, and you can still continue the combo and then put that into Beast Gohan. It's just perfect. Honestly, I don't see them enough for how much they're on the boost right now. Them getting that featured boost plus, nobody's using them. And I think that's a real like missed opportunity for a lot of people. At the time of making this video, it's a Tuesday, so they might be off the boost by the time you see this video. But honestly, they are a true gem, and if they're on the boost and you build them on the right team with Zenkai buffs, that free Rising Rush is the cheesiest thing that has ever released in Dragon Ball Legends, and I don't think it should be overlooked. And they just hit. So I've got them at number 3 for this list. Number 2, I've got Super 17. Super 17, you already know in his prime, I always have to mention him as the 1940s dictator, Everybody knows how dangerous this guy was in his prime. It doesn't matter what else you put up against him, he's taking you out in 2 blast cards. He doesn't need a lot. He just needs blast cards and his green card, and that's enough for him. But right now, his main saving grace is that they released a red ultra cell, and there's a lot of benefits of running double red, especially considering they're both blast. They both have the same tag, so you can Zenkai buff them equally, and then you just put a leader slot option with another unit, or you could run an android themselves. So MVP 17 is a good option. So you've got 2 endurance units there and Super 17. His green card is so cracked, it can get you a free kill. Also bear in mind that since it puts in the no switching, if you get a priority, you can then switch to ultra cell and nullify any endurances on the other end. It's such a perfect combination, considering that if he's Zenkai buffed, he hits like crack in the 80s, bro. He's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem. And I don't see people using him enough for the fact that you compare him with the most dangerous ultra in the game right now, Ultra Perfect Cell. You Zenkai buff them together, but now I'm going in a loop. You get the point. I think people can also take advantage of his buff cancellation. So if you're running him with Cell and MVP 17, that's also a major plus, something that people sleep on. He's also a good combo extender in general, so that will help you out. And because you're running a blast type team with Super 17, Ultra Cell, of course, he's just Ultra Cell, so I'm not going to dive into him. But having your team be able to survive the anti-blast from Ultra Cell, which is going to help the whole team, and then have this guy can do tap attacks to stop the strikes and blues, that's going to literally shut down any melee team. And I think that's a big thing that should be considered, but I don't see Super 17 enough for how great of an asset he is besides Ultra Cell. You know, you run 2 reds and then you could have a green, even if it's just a blast unit, so Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, or you could have, if you're going the other way, it'd be a purple, because the red protects purple from the yellows. Who that would be? Perfect Cell, the purple one, obviously, the one that Zenkai, that's an option. It can work out. You got options either way. Running double red, it's either you aim to protect the double red with a green, or you aim to protect purple with the double red, and either way you can get major benefits out of that, which is why I've got Super 17 at number 2. We've got Goku Black Rose as number 1. I really think this guy is severely underrated. During his release, people didn't see the vision. It's not that he wasn't like, it's not like he was the best at the time. I'm not gonna act like he was a number 1 unit. He was a number 2 unit. I wouldn't even say a number 3 unit. But his value to the team, he's a team player, and people didn't see the vision. It's an investment you had to make, and if you are a Goku Black fan, you invested in this guy regardless. Well, no matter what noise was coming in your ear about people saying he was bad, he needs to be buffed, people were treating this guy like God Goku, and that is nowhere near the case. Especially now, with Future having so much investments with Zamasu, Gohan and Trunks, the 1%, Cell, you know, they have stock. And if you want to run this guy, you can get major benefits out of that. Now, the one thing I want to talk about in his kit, because we've seen on Ultra Cell now, people are like, oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Okay. Especially against fighting Beast Gohan, is the fact that he has the, I call it now the Goku Black Rose Covenant, because there's not exactly a straightforward term for it, you know. Do we Covenant 2? Whatever. But you know, his cover note applies to the enemy. So normally you get cover nullification for yourself, so they can't cover change you. But because it's a buff on yourself, it can be cancelled. But if you add the cover note to them, it won't be cancelled. So you're able to ultimate guys like Beast Gohan. Having a Future team and running this guy, you can hit ultimate artists because of that. And that's a big asset. His element is also pretty nice right now. I know he's kind of a hindrance if you're fighting the likes of Red Cell and I guess Daima Goku. But besides from those two, you know, it's a 3v3 game at the end of the day. I've seen people run some heavily defensive Future compositions. This guy, you know, his gauge isn't the greatest. It could have been better for sure. But again, his main thing is that he applied the cover node to the enemy so that people's ultimates can go through. This guy here run a defensive build. Him defensive, Zamasu defensive, Gohan Trunks defensive. His gauge could have been better. Zamasu's gauge could have also been better, but having them both have defensive type gauges in a sense is very, very impactful. The combo breaking is amazing, and if it gets that serious, Gohan and Trunks there with the full second life that they have to break down. A full defensive Future team will cause you some headache, and I fought a couple, and because they're built with intention, they know what they're doing, this guy can really shine. Even if you just wanted to leader slot him on another team, you can get a lot of value out of him just because of that cover no gimmick. That's why I have him at number 1, and specifically because we've seen it on Ultra Cell's ultimate art, people should be seeing this as, okay, it actually has stock, it has value. We should be using it more because they're shining light on it, given the fact that they put it on Ultra Cell's Ultimate Arts, so they're probably going to put it on other people's Ultimate Arts down the line, which makes Rose in himself more valuable because he can just attribute it completely. They're the only two people that have it in the game, so you should be looking at it with, okay, if I invest now, well, it's too late because you can't really access him, but if you have Goku Black Rose, you know that you're sitting on a gold mine. Most people don't have him, but if the guys that do have him, I'm sure they know how valuable this guy could be, no matter how much noise came in their ear talking about this guy's not good, this guy's bad, he's in age poorly, It's all about intention. That's going to be the end of the video, man. If there's anybody that you feel I should have mentioned or could have mentioned and I didn't, let me know in the comment section. Do you have any units that are severely underrated? And I think these guys really make the cut. They should be more light shined on them for how much value they could have on any team composition if you know what you're doing, you have some investments and you're building them correctly. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.